Hello you fantastic people and welcome back to Borderlands 3. We're back at it again with a super helpful video for legendary artifacts. If you guys need any legendary artifacts in Borderlands 3, this is the video you'll want to watch. We have killed every single boss in Borderlands 3 on True Vault Hunter mode, Mayhem 4, any of the main bosses in the main campaign, and DLC 1 as well included. 50 times Mayhem 4 True Vault Hunter mode. That way we can compare all of the drops they have for this one, legendary artifacts, but we've also made a video on legendary weapons, just their world drops, legendary anointed weapons, and their class mods as well. All separate videos that have compared all the bosses top to bottom, ranked in order from like literally all of the bosses in the game to see how many they drop compared to how long it takes to farm them, which is super helpful. So if you guys don't have like a whole month and a half to farm every boss in the game, you guys can just go for the fastest ones and the most efficient ones out of the ones you like at least, and just farm them, and it'll save you a whole bunch of time. And that's why I've made this video. If you guys have been watching me for a while, you likely know what's going on, but for the new people, essentially we've kept the same skill tree for pretty much the entire run. So if you guys want to check out what that is, I'm obviously playing as Flak. You're welcome to pause the video, check out the skill tree for yourself. It is essentially the highest damage build I can get, highest crit damage, and as well getting my fadeaway back as quickly as possible because that's just important to me, as well as having this annoying pet, which I know completely useless in Mayhem 4. The only reason I keep him around is just the revive, or keeping me alive slightly long enough for me to get a kill revive. That's the only reason he's there. But that build works really, really well. It's just a great all-round build. You can pretty much use any weapon, honestly, so it doesn't really matter how you play. It's just a great boss melting skill tree, boss build, strat. As for weapons, of course, it depends on what boss I was fighting, but majority of the time, this bang stick and this Unforgiven like crit swap trick works for pretty much everything in the game. There's very few that it doesn't work or it's not as efficient as other weapons. And with that combination is pretty much how I got all my fastest times in Borderlands 3 for all the boss fights. So if you guys can kill a boss faster or you're a lot slower, that is just the strat I used. I tried to keep it pretty much the same because people were asking for times as I was making my original videos. Of course, there are faster ways to kill certain bosses. I know that from different like character builds, different skill trees, different weapons, stuff like that. But I want to keep it generally even just so it was a decent comparison overall from all the bosses in the game. But yeah, let's get into the fun stuff. We'll just start with the pure amount of legendary artifacts they drop after 50 runs on True Vault Hunter mode Mayhem 4. The number one spot is RAMPAGER. He drops 22 legendary artifacts, which is really, really high. It's almost 1 in 2 drops. Second place is Tyrene with 19 legendary artifacts, also really, really good. Both of them have immunity stages though, so they take forever, unfortunately. The third place is Graveward, the original just MVP of legendary weapons, artifacts, class mods, shields, everything in Borderlands 3. He is the third place for legendary artifacts, tied with General Traunt actually, with 17. The fourth place is Aurelia. She drops 13 legendary artifacts. And number 5 is actually a tie again with Gigamind and Fabricator Mark II with 12 legendary artifacts. So a decent lineup there. All non-DLC bosses with the exception of Fabricator Mark II, because majority of them don't actually drop any legendary artifacts because there was no new artifacts introduced in DLC 1. Unfortunately, kinda sucks, but only 2 of the bosses from DLC 1 drop any legendary artifacts whatsoever, so that unfortunately disadvantages the DLC 1 bosses. As for the rest of the list, I'll show it on screen so you guys can check out all your favorite bosses and see how they rank in order. Of course, these are not a guaranteed drop rate, by the way. It is just how many I got. You're not guaranteed to get, say, 22 from Rampage. You might only get 15. Heck, you might even get 30 if you get really lucky. It is up to RNG, but it's a general consensus. For example, Warden is in 11th place with 6. I highly doubt you're going to get any more than Rampager from Warden. It's just a general, you know, ranking. Of course, not guaranteed to get these drops, in case you're wondering. But if you guys are still looking at this list, feel free to pause the video because I'm going to move on to the next list, in which being the amount of time it takes to farm every single boss in Borderlands 3. I'll read the top 5, then you guys can, of course, just check out the list for the rest. The time is taken from the second you're allowed to move from the closest new station to run to the boss, kill the boss, log out of the game, and log back into the game until you're allowed to move again. That's when the time is taken from. If you guys are on PS4, you'll be the same as me. It takes 30 seconds to log into the game, about 10 seconds to log out. So from the boss fight, including the running, I just added 40 seconds. If you guys are on like PC and you guys can load the game in faster, just take off 40 seconds from the time and add on however long it takes your system build essentially to log into the game. It'll save you a bit of time with that, but that shouldn't affect the ranking. It'll just make the times for everyone faster. So the number 1 spot for the fastest boss farm in Borderlands 3 is without a doubt FREDDIE. He is 40 seconds to kill him and reload the game because you actually don't have to log in and out, which saves you a whole bunch of time when killing FREDDIE. You actually have to just fast travel back to his new station, allows you to go straight back there, and he loads back into the game straight away. You don't have to sign in and out, and that saves you a whole bunch of time. It's only like a maybe 5 to absolute maximum 10 seconds fast travel. I'd say probably 5 seconds, which saves you a good 35 seconds on the log in and out. and then you just have to run there. You don't have to kill all the loader bots. You can pretty much one-shot him with a lot of builds as well, so it's just a super quick farm. The second place is Gigamind. He is 1 minute to farm, which is absolutely crazy considering you do actually have to log in and out for Gigamind. So he's only a 20-second farm without the load time, because it's just a super short run, and you can again one-shot him with a lot of builds or just absolutely destroy him with a whole variety of builds. He's not a particularly difficult boss to kill, which is great because he drops a whole bunch of stuff as well. So he's a great beginner boss and just great boss all around, to be honest. As for third place with 1 minute and 10 seconds, it's actually a tie between 4 different bosses, including Captain Traunt, General Traunt, Fabricator Mark II, and Billy the Anointed, all super fast farms. For the fourth place, it's again a tie between 3 different bosses, being Mouthpiece, Graveward, and Katagawa Ball. They all take 1 minute and 30 seconds, so again, super quick farms there. With the fifth place is Agonizer 9000 by his lonesome. He has 1 minute and 50 seconds to farm him. So those are the fastest top 5 times in Borderlands 3 for particular boss farms. The rest I'll show on screen now. You guys can check out where your favorite bosses come in order. A few mentions: apparently you don't actually have to log in and out of the game for Scrap Trap. There is a way to just go into the ship container and then he reloads or something like that. I've never done it myself personally because I just don't really like Scrap Trap. So once I found out, I didn't bother actually going back to do it. But if you guys are a fan of Scrap Trap, feel free to test out that method. You guys don't have to log in and out. Save you 40 seconds there, but it doesn't actually move him very much up the ranking at all by doing that. Kilovolt is apparently the same thing. If you down after killing him, he just loads in again. Personally, I wouldn't bother doing that strategy myself because I need money in the game, and downing loses all your cash. But if you guys are bowling and brought all the SDUs on all your characters, then feel free to do that strat as well, because he is a decent farm. And the same thing with Rampager. I've heard apparently you can skip having to log in and out with his boss fight as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like the few comments I've had have said you just have to run into the vault before his death animation is over, and once you come back out you can kill him again, but all of his loot has dropped. So correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section, but feel free to test out strats or find out the real strat if that's wrong. How to save time for that. But yeah, other than that, I believe that is all the ones you can skip. And you can see Troy's at the bottom there again with 7 minutes. Probably is a little excessive if I'm going to be honest, but I personally just don't like Troy. He takes way too long to farm, his immunity stages are annoying, and I've just never liked it. But if you guys do actually rate Troy as a boss farm, feel free to adjust that time for yourself and see where he ends up in the ranking. But now for the very best part, ranking all the bosses top to bottom, starting with the top 5 to see who drops the most legendary artifacts compared to the time it takes to farm them, to essentially get a number that is how many legendary artifacts they drop per hour of farming them, which is hopefully super helpful if you guys don't have a bunch of time with Borderlands 3 to farm like a bajillion bosses to find out for yourselves who is the fastest. I've done it all for you guys, so hopefully it saves you guys a bunch of time. Starting with number 5, Fabricator Mark II actually just scrapes into the top 5 best bosses for legendary artifacts based on the time it takes to farm them. He drops 12.34 legendary artifacts per hour, which is actually a crazy amount because legendary artifacts are super rare in this game, or at least in my experience they definitely are. So that's fantastic if you guys want to farm Fabricator Mark II, assuming you guys have DLC 1. If you don't stress, there is a bunch of non-DLC bosses on this list that are even better than Fabricator Mark II. For example, 4th place is Gigamind. He drops even more legendary artifacts per hour with 14.4 per hour, which is a crazy amount again. He's a super easy boss farm, great starter boss as well. He's super easy to get through in the story. You guys can farm him early on if you'd like and get your good artifacts for your playthroughs, or late game he's just a quick farm, only a minute to farm him, super easy. And 3rd place, another non-DLC boss, is Gravy or Graveward, the original MVP for just all things legendary in Borderlands 3, and I highly rate him as a farm, super quick. There are a lot of one-shot builds out there that you guys can absolutely destroy this guy. Even just most builds on Mayhem 4 can handle Graveward. He might yeet you off his little boss fight arena by accident. I've done that a few times unfortunately, but other than that he doesn't really do too much damage output. He's usually just a bullet sponge if you're not up to the Mayhem 4 standard yet. Graveward drops 15.2 legendary artifacts per hour, which is again just absolutely crazy. Every time I read a top 5 stat list that I've actually created, it actually blows my mind how many legendaries, like artifacts, class mods, anything like that, they drop per hour. It's absolutely amazing the drop rates in this game. It's so easy to get all the good loot. And as for 2nd place, it actually surprised me when writing out the stats today that this actually came out in 2nd place, because I did not expect it whatsoever. But General Traunt is the 2nd best place in the game to get legendary artifacts in Borderlands 3. He drops 17.49 legendary artifacts per hour, which is absolutely mental. Not only is he a super fast farm, I feel like he's also a pretty decently all-rounded boss as well. Not too much health, damage output is pretty decent I guess, but again, should be able to handle him if you're on the Mayhem 4 level. And then on top of that, he drops actually really good weapons as well. He has a few dedicated ones, including a Mayhem 4 dedicated weapon, a new one that came out with the Mayhem 4 update. If you guys haven't seen that, feel free to check out my General Taunt video for that. I include the weapon and showcase and everything like that. It's actually a really good weapon. And as for the first place for legendary artifacts in Borderlands 3, the best boss is Freddy the Traitor yet again. Actually, very narrowly this time. He drops 19.8 legendary artifacts per hour, which is, again, just crazy amounts of legendary artifacts. It's ridiculous how much they drop. But Freddy the Traitor is, again, #1 spot. If you guys have DLC 1, I highly recommend you guys farm Freddy. I've had a lot of people in my comment section saying they don't get stuff from Freddy and he's not a great boss farm. And then I've had a lot of people that agree with me saying he has a lot of variety and drops a whole bunch of stuff. So depends on what side you're on. If you're getting good stuff from Freddy, he's a great farm. If you guys are unfortunate in getting the RNG trolls and not getting anything good for him, feel free to just go down to second place because General Taunt is dropping pretty much the same rates as him. But personally, RNG is in my favor with Freddy. Somehow is like the first time RNG has been in my favor. And if it is for you as well, feel free to farm him because he is super, super quick. And as for the rest of the bosses, I'll show them on screen so you guys can check out where all your favorite bosses end up in the ranking for the best legendary artifacts farm compared to their times in Borderlands 3. The bottom 3 all have 0 because they never drop any legendary artifacts. Scraptrap and Jackpot have never dropped me a legendary artifact. If you guys have got one from them, feel free to let me know in the comment section down below. And Billy the Anointed just sucks all around, if I'm going to be honest. He never drops anything. He drops some things, I guess. He has 2 dedicated drops, plus the class mod thing. But he's super rare at dropping anything, and I've never got an artifact from him in my life. On top of that, Shiv never drops any legendary weapons whatsoever, just in case you guys didn't already know that. Don't farm him. I tested that just to make sure, because somebody said in my comment section, but you don't need to farm him, he doesn't drop anything. But yeah, that is the rest of the list of all the Borderlands 3 bosses ranked in order for the amount of legendary artifacts they drop compared to the time it takes to farm them. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, don't forget to smash subscribe down below and hit that little bell so YouTube notifies you for whenever I post a video. Really appreciate all the love and support you guys have shown me over the series that I made of killing all the bosses 50 times in True Vault Hunter mode Mayhem 4. It's been great. We're on like 5,000 subs as of the other day, so you guys are absolutely crazy. Really, really appreciate you guys are legends. If you guys want to smash like down below, share the video so the channel grows even more, I'd appreciate that as well. My PC should be getting here by the end of this week, if not the start of next week. So if you guys are keen for some streams, they're coming up very shortly. Get ready for them. If you guys have any challenges for Borderlands 3, anything like that, feel free to leave in the comment section down below. I'll get to them ASAP. I'm going to be trying to kill Wotan 50 times in like the Valkyrie via the raid. Melee 1 takedown, hopefully by tomorrow, if not the next day. Coming up as soon as I can get it done. So yeah, my series will continue killing all the bosses 50 times in True Vault Hunter mode, finding all the dedicated drops for you guys and all that fun stuff. But if you guys have any challenges, feel free to add them to my list and I shall get around to making a video on it as soon as possible. For example, on the first stream, I believe I'm going to be doing an Amara run on Borderlands 3 with a challenge of either like melee, white guns only, pistols only, snipers only, something like that. If you guys have any suggestions or challenges for that kind of run, feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. And yeah, other than that, I hope you guys have a fantastic day. I shall see you guys in the next video, which will hopefully be out tomorrow. Until then, adios.